think they've gone too far this time.
I think I kind of, that's the way I felt about 9/11. I thought that was just so off the wall. George Bush's conspiracy theory was so off the wall, so far-fetched, you know. I mean, he wanted you to believe some Arabs in a cave in Afghanistan made the U.S. Air Force stand down. And that kind of woke people up. Tea parties help mobilize people a little bit, even though they're being misled. If the whole New World Order global government bankster plan, if they control the CIA, they control the drugs, they got all the money in the world, they're also controlling the press. The internet is the antidote. It's a double-edged sword. They couldn't track us without the computers, but with the internet, we're able to communicate. We're able to read the International Forecaster. And by the way, this is the second half of the Free American Hour. My guest is Bob Chapman, the International Forecaster. And Bob, if you would, let's tell people how they can get a sample of your paper. You've been doing this for a long time. You've got a counterintelligence background. Tell us about the International Forecaster. This will go up on YouTube. And tell them how you can also get it, folks, by going to freeamerican.com and just clicking on the link, the International Forecaster. Right, you can hear the show, download the show, and pass it on. And I'd appreciate, Bob, if you'd do that too. When you go to Blog Talk, you can save it for your default player, save it as an MP3 file, and get the whole 1 hour show. And people need to hear this. I mean, there are answers. The whole New World Order thing, Bob, it's not, they've got the money, so they can control the press and they can control the perceptions. They spend a lot of money on advertising agencies, you know, get people like Bernays up to write the propaganda. But we do have a shot, don't we? And you talk about that in the International Forecaster, don't you?
I do. Yeah, the forecast is about business, finance, economic, social, and political issues all over the world. It's published on Wednesdays and Saturdays by email, usually running 35 to 40 pages each time. And there's a hard copy that goes out twice a month for those who are not on the internet. Everything you need to know each week is in that publication. You can get a free introductory copy by going to theinternationalforecaster.com. The International, Forecaster.com. Or you can go to www.intforecaster.com. intforecaster.com. For those of you who would like to ask a question, and we answer everyone, or would like a copy of the publication, or would like a copy of our latest recommendation on gold and silver shares, we'll send you all of that free. And incidentally, the shares have done extraordinarily well. And you do that by emailing Bob, B-O-B, at intforecaster.com. Bob at intforecaster.com. You can also call toll-free as well, and that number is 877-479-8178. 877-479-8178. And you can get your free copies there. And for those of you who would like to become subscribers, that's a place to go to as well, because there is a special offering there, and it includes a 1-year free subscription to the International Forecaster. And the offering they're making is really terrific, so take a look at it.
Bob, tell me about Iran. I mentioned the Paladins are beating the drums. Everybody's beating the drums for war with Iran. What? Now, I came across a story last week about a scientist in Iran, nuclear scientist, that had created a new type of craft, basically a UFO, a flying saucer, capable of Mach speeds, or capable with some type of control over the gravity. They say they used that to bring down that drone in one piece. And the related story was about this guy's technology, and he said he gave it to the Iranian Air Force. And if that story was true, I would say that would be the reason the United States and Israel is trying to go over to Iran. But what about Iran? What is, they're trying to say they got nuclear weapons. Israel certainly got all the nuclear weapons in that area. So if there's a nuclear attack, we know that the finger's going to be pointed at Iran. What's going on in your opinion? What's happening here? What do we have to look forward to with this?
Well, about a month ago on the program, I said here that the game that was being played around the Strait of Hormuz was a game. It was to distract people from the financial problems in Europe and elsewhere as well. And so they played this tit-tat and ran around the Gulf together, and finally one ship went through and nobody got attacked. So on the first look at that, you'd say to yourself, well, I guess Iran really doesn't want a war. At the same time, the head of the CIA comes out and says, Iran does not have a nuclear weapon and won't have one for some time to come. Now, of course, Israel says they're going to have them next week, which is as dumb. And so it was a little side war that was going on. They're not logistically prepared yet. They won't be for about a year to go in there. And they have millions of troops there, and if they're going to have to try to liquidate them all, then they're going to have to work hard at it, and they're going to need lots of equipment and food and so on, hospitals, things like that. And so it's going to come sooner or later, probably. But there's no lead pipe cinch like it was 5 years ago. Every year we're going to have it, and every year the prognosticators are wrong. So we may very well have it. When? I don't know. If anybody knows, they should let me know, because I don't know. But there's a good chance of it happening. And so Iran is continuing to do things to defend themselves. I did not see the commentary upon what this Iranian science supposedly had discovered, created, whatever. And I wonder why we didn't hear about that. Where did you pick that up?
Someone sent it to me. And I followed it up. It's got links on it. I'll try to get it to you. I'll send you an email with it when I got a chance to.
I think that's very interesting. That's kind of an extra cherry on the pie, so to speak. And it may very well now be another reason that we didn't know about as to why they want to get in there and steal that thing, whatever it may be, if in fact it exists.
See, here, I can't bring that up. Let me see here. I put that in one of my last emails. And it's interesting, Bob, because I wrote a science fiction book about a craft exactly as he describes it, capable of doing all the things that he describes it, that he says his could do. And I wrote about that 40 years ago, and so when I got to see this, it was pretty moving for me. It's like, wow, man, have we had this kind of technology all along? Maybe I've said that one of the reasons I think that the UFOs are so so secret. All the information on the UFOs is so well hidden. It's because they don't want us to know that we could go to the moon for lunch without using a drop of gasoline.
Probably.
Now
or something like that. That's a good example.
The name of the
out there we don't know. I mean, when I was working for the government, I mean, some of the guys who I knew very, very well, we didn't know what each other did, just generally, and that was it. Nobody had a need to know what you were doing. Even the guy that bunked next to you.
Now, this information here is the scientist, Iranian scientist, is named Tavakoli, Tavakoli, Keshe. And if you put the Bahram Tavioli Kish is perhaps the most enigmatic and the most interesting, by allegedly harnessing a fusion reaction that manipulates dark matter, regular matter, and antimatter. He claims to have developed technologies that rival those in science fiction. He claims years ago he gave the Iranian military his technology in order for them to produce flying saucers, and an alleged Iranian flying saucer had popped up in the news last March was a result of that. He had offered it to NASA, but they poo-pooed it. If his statements are true, these craft can do more than manipulate gravity for propulsion. They can also produce force fields, emit tractor beams, generate unlimited amounts of clean energy, and have an inertial dampening system that allows occupants to avoid feeling accelerations. And
that's pretty good.
This is
where did that come from?
Let's see. I've got the story here is an engineer behind Iranian saucer technology. But if you put in Keshe into the into Google, it'll come up. He's got a whole corporation. And this was in the I think the title on this was the beginnings, the legend of Lucifer.
But who was the reporting entity?
I don't have that right at this moment. Let me see here. Maybe I can pull that out. Going to that link, the PESN.com, and where is it? Stories engineer behind the Iranian saucer technology comes forward.
It's very intriguing.
I've had people on my show that I met at the Tesla convention that said they built this. They built this motor, this generator, this type of generator, and they said they had to anchor it to keep it from flying off. But this generator was it was a magnetic type of generator.
Mm-hmm.
And they tore it apart because after they got a check back from the power company for $400, they tore it apart because they were afraid they were going to be killed over this. And this story is by Hank Mills, Pure Energy Systems News. And it says it came from the hardline Iranian news agency Fars that they issued a press release stating Iran had developed a flying saucer. The unmanned saucer named Zoho is stated to be equipped with an autopilot system, GPS, and an imaging system. It is claimed the craft can fly indoors and outside. Initially, the press release included a stock photo of a flying saucer that was obviously from an old sci-fi movie. The image was later replaced with a picture of what looked like an ordinary quadrocopter, and such an image would indicate there's nothing exotic about the craft. Now, engineer Mahan Tavioli Kish, who have interviewed and covered here in our news for a couple of years, have come forward claiming to be the developer of gravity manipulating technology being used in the Iranian flying saucer. So, and he's director of the Kish Foundation. That let's see if I can pull out that link for you. That's KESHEFOUNDATION.com. Now, whether this story is accurate or true, who knows? Maybe it's more propaganda. You know, don't mess with us, we got a flying saucer. But the drone is a real story, and they say they used the saucer to bring this drone in. The drone had no damage; it wasn't even scuffed on the bottom from a crash landing, and that was that made even the mainstream, Bob.
Well, that's very interesting. Maybe they'll invent the one that'll pick up illegal alien presidents.
It says the technology sounds too good to be true. It's claimed to allow for both a gravitational and magnetic field to be produced around the craft. Gravitational and magnetic fields are used for propulsion. They work for or against the fields of other bodies in space, such as planets, stars, even galaxies. A device that weighs 7 to 10 kilograms is claimed to produce many tons of lift, a lifting force created without the need for any conventional fuels. These devices are very cheap to build. A small reactor costs around $1,000 in components.
Wow.
And the benefits of this astounding technology are manyfold. Address many of the challenges found in space travel. To be blunt, it seems to combine all the best technologies of the fictional Starship Enterprise. For example, the magnetic field produced by a craft protects the occupants from cosmic radiation. Apparently, this field is so intense that small dust particles that would normally destroy a spacecraft are simply disassociated on the atomic level. Due to the fact that the craft produces its own gravitational field, occupants can walk about normally and will experience the same level of gravity as they do on Earth. This prevents muscle and bone deterioration found when exposed to long periods of zero gravity. Now, in my fiction, and based on all of the research I've done, Bob, they've had this kind of technology for years. You know, this is the kind of craft they recovered at Roswell. They reverse engineered it. You know, I've talked to Philip Corso, and you know, I even happen to know and meet the man that escorted the alien from Roswell to Truman's office. One of my father-in-laws. But you know, I mean, if this is possible, I mean, this may be what they built in Australia for the little generator. You know, they built one of these little magnetic generators that you can put in your garage and run your whole house off of it. They've made those illegal here. They don't. You can't get a patent on it. It's called a perpetual motion machine here.
The gangsters are very good at what they do.
They made criminals out of our fathers and grandfathers for producing alcohol to run their cars and their tractors with.
That's true.
So, Is there hope that what Gordon Duff is talking about the chiefs of staff? I mean, isn't there anybody left in Washington? You were in the intelligence community. I mean, this is what we're told. We're paying these people to prevent from happening, and it seems like we're paying them to do it to us.
And we are. It's just the public doesn't understand that. And that's because they don't know what's going on. And that's why we do what we do. And hopefully it'll work. And if it doesn't, and the system's not open, all of these people who say that they're going to help the public, who never do, are going to be up against it. And I sure wouldn't want to be in the military. They don't have any good choices, that's for sure. Well, what are they going to do when they go in a group of 20 of these people from one of these concentration camp groups, go to somebody's house, and one of the guys in there finds out, that's my mother's and father's house. What are they doing here? And the sergeant says to him, well, we're here to pick them up because the president says they said terrible things about him, and they're going to be disappeared. And the soldier says to the sergeant, I don't think so. And the sergeant says, you not going to follow orders? And the person says, yeah, that's right. And he says to the rest of the men, are you going to follow me, or are you going to follow him? And maybe, your family's online for tomorrow. And the people are going to say, no, Sergeant, go away. We're not going to pick these people up. And that's the way it will begin.
Well,
it'll happen.
Again, it's pretty interesting because I wrote about this in one of my fiction stories 10 years ago. I wrote about a detention center, a concentration camp where they were killing people there. And shortly after that, suddenly the detention camps were real. So hopefully it's fiction now. Hopefully it'll stay fiction. And I really appreciate what you do, Bob. And I would certainly appreciate any help. Everything they've done to me has been to try to destroy any credibility I've got, or any backup, any connections. So I'm not able to get my books into Barnes & Noble anymore. I don't even think Barnes & Noble is open anymore. It was for sale. The book business is going down. We've got it on the internet, but I'm not making a lot of money off of it. And I'd appreciate any help. If you can let people know that about the Free American, about this show, about the Mystery Babylon, which has got all of these stories about the CIA drug dealing and the whole Illuminati plan for one world government, Homeland Security. Homeland Security, DHS, is simply the KGB all over again, isn't it, Bob?
That's right. All I have to do is give them brown shirts.
They prefer black this decade, I think.
Well, the white and red Hatzenkreuzer would do well on that.
And let's give out.
You don't hear that word very often, do you?
Repeat that.
Hatzenkreuzer.
No.
It's a swastika.
It's a what?
What's the word for it in German? Hatzenkreuzer.
One of the things I like...
in the program, you learn all kinds of things.
We do that first Friday of every month. Bob Chapman is my guest there, and I really appreciate it, Bob. I really enjoy having you on. I think the shows that I do with you get the most hits on YouTube of anything.
Well, I think it's telling the truth and try to make things understandable to people. And tell them they got to do something. And there may come a time when we'll be telling them to do things that they really don't want to do. But that's what it may come to. And, people have been standing by doing nothing for generations, and it's crunch time. And you either act or you're going to get dead.
Well, it's, you know, I think that's a reason they're so afraid of me. They simply don't want me. They don't want people listening to me. They don't want people listening to you. You know, it's so that's what we've got to do. We've just got to. We're all the information I get out is accurate. You know, and it's as accurate as we can. I do write science fiction too, folks, and you'll probably enjoy the hell out of my next book.
If you can find it.
If you can find it, but you can find it at freeamerican.com. And again, Bob, I'd appreciate it if you let people know about that. You know, they're
surely will.
It's you got to reach, and you know, it's really just a matter of us all working together. If we don't work together, we're all going to hang alone here. And the truth is in short supply.
Well, everybody's afraid of the truth, that's why.
Well, and also, if you realize what we're telling them, Bob, is the truth, then it kind of falls on you to do something. To do something, you know? And hopefully, we can do that.
Right.
All right, Bob, thank you for being with me.
Well, you're welcome, and I'll see you in a month or so.
All right, sir. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Go to freeamerican.com. That's freeamerican.com. Order One Mystery, the Mystery Babylon, the New World Order Unveiled. You can get the PDF for $20, hard copies for $35, shipped priority mail.
Recording has been completed. Your wings span my ocean. Your eyes see everything. The slightest of your motions can make
discover what's really going on in the world. The mainstream media will tell you, and Truth Radio is live through a live selection of our talent programs. TruthRadio.com.
A strange sensation has seized the nation, and things are sudden.